Hey there, Wolverines! I'm Sara Otto. With the release of Pokemon 18 years ago, it's become a global phenomenon. And now, with the release of Pokemon Go, you can catch Pokemon in your very own backyard. We're here at Fort Bayer Park to see if we can catch some on our own. All you need is a smartphone. Officer James Sims of Prince George's County has been indicted for taking upskirt photos of women. Police began the investigation after another off-duty police officer reported that Sims had taken upskirt photos of her. Sims could face up to 1 year in prison. We're here on the Diag asking Michigan students about their thoughts on the election following the first presidential debate. So you talked a lot about big government spending plans and in particular Obama's stimulus plan and Obamacare. How do you suppose if Clinton was elected president these programs would change at all under her tenure? So do you think any of these policies that the Clinton campaign has been advocating, many of them resembling policies that Bernie Sanders was campaigning for while he was still running, do you think any of these promises are empty promises? Do you think she might be trying to appeal to the Bernie Sanders supporters who are now hopefully, at least she hopes, are not going to be voting for her? The University of Michigan is hosting a White House bounce house, sponsored by the One Vote 16 campaign, working to make poverty a more prevalent issue during this year's election cycle. Founded by U2's lead singer Bono, One is a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization devoted to spreading awareness about poverty and preventable disease.
What's great about One is we're fully funded, so we're not fundraising. We say rather than your pocketbook, we'd like you to use your voice.
As constituents, we want to say that before you enter the White House, you need to commit to fighting global poverty. And so for students and community members coming by, we're asking them to, before they enter the White House, let the nominees know that this is what we want them to do.
So if that means writing your, state, federal representative, or doing something fun like this where we're sending your letters to the campaign offices, we find it's very useful and we're very powerful when everybody is involved in that way.
Participants take part in audiovisual simulations to learn about life in Africa.
One is a HIV positive woman who has 2 sons who are HIV negative, and then the other one is about a little girl, I think she's 5 years old, who kind of goes through her journey of how she needs to get fresh water every day. So they're both really incredible and powerful to watch.
Regardless of who ends up in the White House, One is working to assure that he or she has a plan to combat global poverty, especially in Africa.
How could you not want to help fight poverty when you get to jump in a giant White House?
For WOLV-TV, I'm Sara Otto. One Vote 16 is a great cause. Check out their website, onevote16.org. That's why issues like Hillary Clinton's email server and whether or not Trump releases his tax returns get so much attention. Sure, it would be great to know what was in all of those emails and how much money Trump made last year, but those issues don't say much about the type of president that Trump or Clinton would be. Considering that 87% of those stopped in accordance with the policy were Black and Latino, and only 1.9% of those stopped had weapons, the policy does seem discriminatory. Looking past the accusations thrown left and right, the candidates agreed on several issues, including the importance of limiting nuclear development, building better relationships between the police force and minority communities, economic growth, and helping small businesses. I really don't think it's fair to compare the statements that Trump made about minority groups, not justifying those statements by any means, but I don't think that it's fair to justify Hillary Clinton's statements about half of Trump supporters being deplorable by saying that Trump also said bad things about minority groups. If the third-party candidates had a chance to talk, they could maybe take some of the attention away from this Trump versus Hillary rift and conflict and actually focus on policy solutions that could really benefit a large majority of Americans. That's right, Paige. The United States officially confirmed that Donald Trump will be the 45th president of the United States. Early this morning, Michigan students took to the Diag ND undergraduate library to voice their grievances. Some students carried candles peacefully, while others' protests caused more of a disruption. According to the police officer on duty, as the protesters were leaving the Diag, one of them jumped in front of his patrol car. Let's take a look at what happened.
You shouldn't go disturb the people studying.
I actually wasn't. If I was known.
It's all right. It's all right to protest.
No,
go out on the Diag and protest.
This is a walkway.
Yep, go out on the Diag and protest.
This is
they
actually
said
a very prominent walkway for the entire
they said that,
campus.
People was in there protesting.
The entire
disturbing
campus.
the people doing their stuff, studying.
I was not in the library. I was just coming from my job.
Okay.
So,
Proceed to jump in front of my vehicle.
jump in front of your vehicle. Are you kidding me? You're driving down a f***ing walkway
Hey,
in the
excuse
middle of
me.
Central Campus.
You can talk to me and you can address me appropriately. You don't
I
need
did.
to curse at me. You don't
I
need
did,
to swear
and
at
it
me.
doesn't matter.
Well, that's our show for today. Tweet us your stories at WOLV-TV News. Thanks for tuning in. For WOLV-TV, I'm Sara Otto. Welcome back. A massive water rescue from the frigid waters off of Alaska. 46 people there were saved from their sinking fishing boat by 2 Good Samaritan vessels nearby. Heavy fog made the rescue particularly difficult, but the Coast Guard says all aboard the doomed vessel are now safe and accounted for. The latest now in the case against 2 Virginia Tech teens accused of murdering a 13-year-old girl. Prosecutors now saying that a 19-year-old David Eisenhower will not face the death penalty when he goes to trial because there's no physical evidence that he had sexual contact with Nicole Lovell on the day she was killed back in January. Eisenhower was indicted Tuesday on charges of first-degree murder, kidnapping, and hiding the body. He faces up to life in prison. A trial date was set for March. Attorneys for a transgender boy in Gloucester County, Virginia, have asked the Supreme Court not to take up a case proposed by the school board that would bar him from using the men's restroom. The school board asked the Supreme Court to block an order that would allow him to use the men's restroom because they believe the ruling will cause severe disruption for students and that some parents may withdraw their children from the school. Still ahead, if you were hoping to visit the Washington Monument today, make other plans. The monument has been closed since Saturday due to the elevator issues. It will be open in time for the weekend, details ahead. And a live look outside as we head to break on this Wednesday morning. Weather and traffic on the 5s next.